Here's somebody that's on their way to quitting their job through wholesaling real estate. He made $18,000 on his first deal, and now he's looking for his next one. My name is David Lecko. I'm the host of the DealMachine podcast, where we're all about helping you replace your W-2, if that's something you're interested in, with the business model of wholesaling real estate. The last 8 years, I've been creating and running a program that's a marketing tool for real estate investors and people that want to flip homes and people who are looking for a wholesale deal, which is a strategy you can use to build your skills and earn money by finding a rundown house, getting it under contract, but not closing on it yourself and getting paid a finder's fee for passing it to an investor that does want to close on that. Here's the episode with our friend Chris that's on his way to financial freedom. Hey, Chris, how much did you get on your first real estate wholesale deal?
Hey, David. Well, my first wholesale deal, it was 18,000 out in Boise, Idaho, but it was split between two. I did a JV partner with I can't remember his name right now, but he's out in Boise, and I got the lead from marketing that I was sending. I was handwriting letters when I was cold calling, so I pulled not the eviction list, but the code violation list from the county out there in Ada County, and I was just handwriting letters. And I said the letter, the guy called me back. And then I was just following up 1 month. No, I'm not ready. The next month, not ready. And then I think it was month 3. The guy said, yeah, I'm taking offers. So I called him, and he went out. He sent out one of his team members out there because he was here in San Diego. And we closed the deal.
So you made $18,000, and that was the difference between the price you guys got it under contract for and what you ended up selling it to a cash buyer for, right?
So yeah, we both made 18 split over 2 because it was a JV. So we made 9 each. The difference from the contract to the cash buyer's offer was 19 or 18,000.
And so it sounds like as a new wholesaler, sometimes it can be nerve-wracking not knowing who's going to buy that first deal from you, but you were really smart and you ended up contacting somebody who was currently already wholesaling to help you sell the deal. So, and then you split the assignment fee with them, right?
Right. Yes. Yep.
Nice.
Because it's either a little bit of something or nothing.
Oh, so I love that. I love that you actually decided to go ahead and partner with somebody for the first one, because now I'm sure it's like eye-opening to see how it's done, and you could move on to the next one. So if anybody listening, is nervous about that, that's actually a great way to go. How did you end up meeting that person, by the way?
It was on Facebook.
Okay.
I think it was TTP, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TTP stands for Talk to People. It's a community, right, for people that are wholesaling real estate. And so you found somebody in that group.
Yes. Yep.
Got it.
And he was out in Boise. He was actually here in San Diego, North San Diego, and he had a company out in Boise. Got
it. So I wanted to ask, because I contacted you, I saw that you guys were making a lot of calls. I think probably 500 or 1,000 conversations, like with the dialer that we had just launched, 3 weeks ago. And so it seems like you're taking a lot of action. Is that you making the calls, or have you hired somebody to help make the calls?
Yeah, I wish it was somebody else. No, it's been me. Yeah.
Well, it's smart. I think it's smart. I think you should only hire somebody to do the calls and the hard work once you've done it a lot of times, right? And have a lot of money to be able to funnel into that. Otherwise, you're kind of lighting your money on fire if you don't know what you're doing and you hire somebody to do something you don't know how to do, right? So that's a great strategy to continue and start by doing it yourself. How are those conversations going so far?
I mean, it's going. I mean, I'm getting some warm leads. Nothing that it's hot right now. It's a lot of, I'm going to sell here at the end of the summer, or we're thinking of moving out and we're going to be selling the property, but we're not too sure yet. So I'm getting a lot of those. Not a lot of them, but a few calls.
Yeah. Okay. So compare those to the conversation you had with the seller from Boise, Idaho. How did those conversations feel different?
Oh, it was a lot different. With the guy with Boise, Idaho, he was sure he was going to sell. He called me and he said, how much are you going to offer? I never told him the number because I didn't know how much I was going to offer. And I just kept going. So when are you thinking of selling? You're going to be selling today. What's going to happen next? And he would just kind of tell me, oh, call me in a month, or call me in a month. I'm still thinking about it. And then one day he said, I'm ready.
Got it. So, I mean, that's great. Anybody who's a warm lead, I know the dialer that we have, the AI will sense that conversation and tag it for follow-ups and also put it as a warm lead. But I've noticed that you said the guy who did sell, it was very easy. He wanted to sell and you didn't have to convince him. And that's been my experience too. So I wanted to point that out because you can't really say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. When you find someone that wants to sell, it's just easy. And to me, cold calling is just about, well, let's continue calling people until I hear somebody that really does genuinely want my help and wants to sell. And it's kind of easy once you get to that point, but it's kind of a brute force numbers game before you just find somebody like that. So really good insight there that you shared about the differences between those conversations. How many calls are you doing now per week, would you say?
Right now, since we just got the dialer, I'm still learning. So I'm part of the Driving for Dollars Mastery with Zach Booth.
Yep.
And since we just started using the dialer, I'm not too sure how the metrics are going to work, because before I was using call tools and one of the metrics was time. So we were measuring time and then no's. So basically people who own the property but they want to sell. And yes, I want to sell at some point. And with your dialer, he has a different method of doing things. So now we're going to do a triple tap. So we're going to call the same number 3 times. So call, then drop a voicemail. And then the following day, you're going to do 2 times. So call, and then drop a voicemail. And then third day, you call once and then drop a voicemail. Hopefully you hear from them. So it's going to be a difference now, because you're not tracking time. I think he's going to be tracking dials.
Okay, got it. Cool. So do you know how many dials perhaps you might be doing right now?
I think I've been doing about 1,000 dials
a week or total.
Right. I'm tracking by time. So right now I'm doing about 15 hours a week, 15 to 20. That's what I'm pushing.
Yeah.
So it's
now
as
that's
much as I
amazing,
can.
because I know you still have a full-time job and you have 3 kids.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you find the time to do that?
I mean, it's hard. It's discouraging sometimes too. I feel guilty some days, because at the end of the day for work, I get in my office and start cold calling. So I feel guilty. But I mean, my dad just telling me somebody's gonna do it and nobody's gonna do it for you. So it's either you or you. So if you want it, you just got to do it.
Got it.
Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast, because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
That's very nice. And I mean, it's definitely the hardest thing that people find is how to carve out time for that. So it's kind of great to hear that you have a lot of obligations, you have a family, you have work, and you're still finding time. So that's very inspiring for anybody who's got, a little bit on their plate or even a lot, just to see how you're able to do that and put in the effort. Because matter of fact is, if you put in the effort and the time, it's just a matter of fact, you're going to get a deal. How long have you been in Zach Booth's program, by the way?
It's over 2 years, I think. The first end of the year of 20, I can't remember the year, but it was around September. I started the program, and throughout that year, I was out in Boise. So I hired 2 drivers. I was trying to get deals, and it didn't work. And then one day, I called him discouraged because I wasn't getting anything. So he went through my numbers, my KPIs, and he was able to find that I was losing deals because I couldn't go to the people's homes and knock on the door and say, "Are you guys ready to sell?" I was just losing deals because I wasn't there. So he said, "Why not just do San Diego?" And I was happy, and I was discouraged too, because that's what I wanted since day one. I just want to wholesale in San Diego. I know it's one of the toughest markets, but I mean, I see a lot of people doing it, so why not me?
Yeah. Now, so I think that's great to do it in your backyard. I believe that the average house in Boise is about $491,000. And I'm going to pull it up for San Diego. Now, the average price of a home in San Diego is $1 million. So the way that works for anyone listening is if you are in a higher priced market, it will take more time and more calls to get a deal. It's just something that I've noticed, right? Helping people close deals in all 50 states with DealMachine. But your assignment fee is still like 15%. So you're going to get a huge assignment fee when you get deals in San Diego comparatively to a lower priced market, right? And Boise is not even that low of a market, but it is half the value, half the home value, So I just wanted to share that too. I do deals in Indianapolis. And I would say, I'm going to plug it in right now. The average home price in Indianapolis, 232, right? So it's a lot easier for me to get deals. Feels like a lot of momentum's building up. If you're in an expensive market, it just requires that maybe you're like misunderstood a little bit by family and friends who are like, yo, like, yeah, have you not gotten a deal? But you got to know it's just going to take longer in those markets because the price is higher.
Yeah. And now that we're talking about it, a few years back, that whatever you said earlier, that it takes more calls or more marketing to get a deal, that's something I just didn't get. And I don't know if it's, cause I've never been in marketing, so I just didn't know. So that's why I switched from San Diego to Boise, thinking it was going to be quicker and faster.
Well, it probably
And
was, but then you had another trouble of just not being there in person, right?
right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's something I just didn't like. I actually enjoy, right now I enjoy going out to the appointments and meeting the people and getting to see what their issue is and trying to solve it.
Yes,
I like
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, while I've got you on the phone and before we sign off today, I was curious, is there anything now that you've gotten into, DealMachine, the dialer recently, as well as a new addition that you'd like us to change or anything you'd like us to stop doing?
Well, I think Zach is going to be working with you guys, but what I find right now is it's a little harder to keep track of the dials because I know you can't accommodate to everybody, but the way he's asking us to do our marketing, the three taps and then 2 and then 1, it's hard to basically keep track of where you're at because you get to see the screen and it's like an Excel spreadsheet. You can see a bunch of numbers and a bunch of addresses. So it's hard for me to keep track of, okay, I dialed to this person 3 times and then I got to move on to the next one. So I kind of get lost since you have to get into the rhythm and sometimes distractions happen and you lose track of where you're at. And then the second thing is when I go back for a second time to do my 2 taps and then my voicemail, it's hard to see if I already marked that person wrong number, wrong contact, or they already said no, not interested. So if it was, I don't know, maybe color coding those so I can focus on those that I haven't got an answer from.
Gotcha.
I think those are the main
Zach's
two
always
things.
got his own way of doing things. And historically, we've actually even made a special way to drive for dollars that was just requested by Zach. And it became the tap to add mode in DealMachine because he didn't want to add photos like most of our users do of the house. He just wanted to click once and have that add the property. He didn't want to have to double confirm or anything like that. So maybe it sounds like we should do a custom way to use the dialer for him. But yeah, so the dialer is meant to call through an entire list. We haven't built it so that the flow works well for triple calling or something, but maybe we could do something like that. Perhaps I could put in a request for you guys. I did want to just give you a couple quick tips in case that was actually helpful and just see if it is. So I'm going to try to share my screen now and see if I can. Yeah, here we go. So one thing that I like to do is when I'm looking at my marketing list, first thing I'll do is I will say the lead status, right? Lead status. So we have a lot of options with marketing is like if it's being mailed to. But if you are using the dialer, the AI, when you are finished with a call, will automatically classify every lead as unresponsive or not interested if they truly say that. So anyway, so you could start your filtering by, okay, let's look at the ones that I'm mailing to, or in your case, you could say, let's look at the ones that are, have not responded yet. And then I also like to say, I want to make sure the contact for that property has a phone number. And I want to say the contact is likely the property owner because we do have a lot of phone numbers of relatives, but I usually don't want to call all those until I've exhausted calling the owner first. So that's how I like to filter it. And then I like to do my last called date. I'm still burning through properties I'm sending mail to, but haven't called yet. So I would do last call date is unknown. But you could even say last call date is yesterday, right? So is equal to, and then you could put yesterday's date. And so then you could filter your leads like that, get a list of doing that. Now there's one more thing that I wanted to show you. You'll see here today, I've got 200 65 follow-ups. Okay. And that's automatically generated by how I've told the dialer to treat my follow-ups. And this might be helpful to you, because then all you have to do is just click start. If you are just pulling up to your computer and you want to just roll through some calls. So on the application settings, dialer settings, I want to call only owners. I don't do family members or renters. And of course, the callback is it'll ring my cell phone as well as my web browser interface. But here's what happens automatically in my dialer. If there's no answer, it puts in the follow-up queue 3 days later. If it was warm, let me follow up, 8 days later. And I actually just accidentally changed that. Unresponsive. How many times do I want to try them? And so this is what you could do potentially. You could say, if there's no answer, add to the follow-up queue after 1 day. So they're going to come back up tomorrow for a maximum of 3 times. And so then after you do it 3 times, they won't show up in the follow-up queue anymore. So it's not perfect for exactly what you're trying to do, but it's actually somewhat helpful, I think, to just know those are options for you to filter and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go back through the recording. I took some notes, so yeah, cool. I think that'll take some stuff and focus on those who haven't answered.
Let's follow up in a couple of months. I'd love to do another Friday, maybe same time. If you're cool with that, I could send you an invite and we could check in on see how things are going.
Yeah. Hopefully by then I'll have some good news and a deal. So
yeah, absolutely. Is there a social media handle that people could follow you?
I have Instagram. I think it's Chris Ramos SD. I think it is. Not too sure, but yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for your time, Chris. And thanks for sharing your journey on how you're working to get that next wholesale deal.
Sounds good, David. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.